We are going to talk about some of the different ways in which open contact may begin to occur on your world. We are going to talk about the idea of what you can do to accelerate this for your own experience. We are going to talk about the idea of what it means for your planet to experience the beginning stages of contact. I am, and we are, representative of a much larger group than many of you may imagine. This group contains not only other extraterrestrial beings, but spirit guides, soul families, angelic beings, interdimensional forms of consciousness, and so on. There are literally thousands upon thousands upon thousands of beings involved in these transmissions. Thousands upon thousands of beings involved in different things going on your planet, watching, observing, and in many ways, participating. Our participation is about to become more physical. You will see over the course of the next few years increases in what you call UFO sightings, UAP sightings, to get you used to the idea that there is a lot of traffic around your planet. There are a lot of portals through which many ships pass, many beings come and go. Many of you ask, where are these portals? And we have talked about some of the main ones that exist on your planet that some of you already know about, such as the location in which we are now beaming this transmission of Sedona, Arizona. But in reality, if you wish a simplistic analogy, your world, your reality is quite a lot like Swiss cheese. It's full of holes, full of portals. There are ships coming and going all the time. There's a lot of traffic around your world. As you increase your vibration, as you broaden your bandwidth, so to speak, by acting on your passion, raising your frequency, becoming a better receiver, a better antenna of higher frequency information and experience, then your senses can extend to the point where you can begin to see many of the things that were heretofore invisible to you, that have been around you all the time. And this not only includes the idea of extraterrestrial spacecraft, but also the idea of spirit beings. Because everything is here and now, right here, right now, all overlapping, separated only by the concept of different frequencies. So don't be too shocked and too surprised when you start perceiving other beings that others may say are not there. You're not crazy. Well, you are, but in a good way. So do not be too surprised as you see an increase in spirit shapes, in causal plane geometrics, in energy streams, in UFOs, in interdimensional beings, in angelic energies, so on and so forth. You have arrived at the place now where you have been preparing and preparing and preparing. And now it starts to, as you say, pay off. The vibration of the new cycle is increasing. The waves are coming faster and faster. And as you raise your vibration, you will catch up to those waves and be pushed along, pulled along, riding those waves toward the experience of open contact, not only with extraterrestrials, but with other beings, other spirits, and of course, as always, more of yourself. Because that's what this is all about, becoming more of who you truly are. Over the course of the next few years, there will be certain things that will occur that will let you know that contact is about to happen. Not only in terms of an increase in sightings, but also in the way in which this may occur. There are several paths that may be taken, by extraterrestrial beings, such as ourselves and others, to begin to initiate you into becoming familiar with our presence in a physical way. One of those ways may be something like this. Ships may appear over your oceans just offshore, so that you know the ship will stay there over the water. You may watch it from shore. It will not move. You will not feel in any way, shape, or form threatened because it is not coming over your heads, over land where you are, but remaining at arm's length out over the water, so that it gives you time to absorb the fact that they are there, off the coastlines of different countries around your world. They may be there for quite some time to allow you the opportunity to gather, to travel to those places, to see the ships. We understand that sometimes they may be surrounded by some of your aerial vehicles, such as helicopters and so on and so forth. But that will all just be part of the show. They will remain there to give you time to get used to the idea that we are here. To get used to the idea that this is the beginning of a great change upon your planet, of a great change in your society. To give you time to discuss among yourselves how you will respond to this change. Take your time. It's fine. There's no hurry. There's no rush. We're not going anywhere. One way may be that you will start to see more orbs of light, which not only can be representative of spirit entities, but also are actually a type of extraterrestrial energy probe. So you may see some of these orbs descend and again remain fixed in a particular position that is non-threatening, giving you time to observe them, to record them, to discuss them, to start to understand that they are there as now something that can become a relatively permanent fixture in your reality, to broaden your understanding of what reality is. Between the ships and the orbs, it may give you an opportunity to start really letting in the idea that everything is about to change. And beyond that, one of the most important things to understand is this. Your society, your world, will be introduced by different organizations and factions of your governments, will be introduced to extraterrestrials within the next 5 years. At the outside. At first, it will probably be most likely Pleiadians. Then, followed by hybrids. After that, we shall see what you are ready for. The next 5 years is not so far away. There will be certain things that will happen before that, as we have already said. Sometime around the end of 2026, the beginning of 2027, there will be things that will happen that will allow you to know you are not alone. That will start to wake you up, open you up to the idea that things are about to change in a dramatic way on your planet. To give you the opportunity to decide which way you are going to go, which direction you prefer, what kind of a reality you prefer to experience, and what you wish it to contain. The idea of being introduced to full disclosure, the introduction of literal physical extraterrestrials to your society within the next 5 years may seem very quick to some of you. But it isn't. Because preparation has been going on for a long time. This is just the final stages, the end result of what has already been going on behind the scenes, that many people on your planet aren't aware of. Extraterrestrials of various types have already been working with some of your scientists for decades to create certain things, to introduce certain ideas, certain technologies. So, contact, in a sense, has already happened and has been going on. It just hasn't been that open yet. So the last stages of contact is open contact, even though contact has already been going on. And in fact, of course, with certain indigenous cultures on your planet, it has been actually happening for thousands of years. Because it is ingrained in their culture. They know. They know and have been interacting with relatives from the stars. Allow yourselves to understand that it is simply the nature of what you might refer to as your Western culture that is the last to know. But that's all right. You have your path. And this is now the place where your path starts to intersect with all the other paths, all the other stories. And the stories now come to light, and the stories now become real, and what you are actually going to live. So, it is approaching the time, the end of one cycle, when what has been going on behind the scenes can now come to the forefront, can now come into the light, so that introductions can occur within the next 5 years to allow humanity to start accelerating within a 3-decade window that began in your year of 2020 and will end in your year of 2050, that will allow you to transition from being an isolated civilization, relatively speaking, to one that is becoming a member of a galactic society. You will be taking your place over this 30-year reset of humanity and accelerating forward in the evolution that you all agreed to plan out with us together, that will allow you to truly take your place among the cosmos, among the stars. One of the gifts, as we have said before, that will be given to you during open contact will be holographic recordings of your complete history, going back thousands upon thousands of years. You will be able to see what Atlantis looked like. You will be able to see many of the civilizations that have existed on Earth that you know nothing about. It will be the history that will be appropriate for the present in which you will exist. It will be the history that will reinforce where you are going into the future. It will be the history that you need to know where you have come from, who you are now, and where you are going. It will be the history that will open your eyes to the agreements you all made with all of us to evolve humanity, to reset humanity in the direction of light and love and joy. It will be something that your children, grandchildren will look back on as the time of transformation, the reset of humanity, and they will look back upon Earth from the ships they will be riding in and know that the entire planet is truly their home. There will be no thought of the idea of borders. There will be different cultures, and they will be cherished and validated, and they will thrive. But there will be a mix of many cultures, humans, hybrids, other extraterrestrials. You will finally, as a planet, become a true melting pot of the galaxy. For there are many stories playing out on Earth. Stories of ancient Orion, stories of ancient Mars, stories of ancient Atlantis. Many stories coming to fruition, playing out to create different endings, more positive endings than those that occurred before in history. All playing out here, for Earth is the place where it all comes together. It doesn't mean that there aren't other places similar to Earth, but Earth is one of the most densely populated places for these kinds of stories, which is why it's so exciting for all of us to watch you. So many stories overlapping, so many transformations that express your power as a soul, as a spirit, to have been powerful enough to decide, yes, I'm going to participate in this transformational school, in this graduating class that is Earth, because this is where it's at. This is where great change and great transformation will accelerate our souls to incredible heights and allow us to truly birth a new civilization. A new Earth is being born right here, right now. And you are all its caretakers and midwives. All of you. We thank you deeply for your courage, for your strength, for your power, for your foresight, for your creativity, and for your love. Think now and imagine now how your lives are capable of changing over the next 5 years. How the introduction of extraterrestrials, the true physical existence on your planet of such beings, will change what you know or not change what you know. What will be affected in your lives? What will not? What will be enhanced? What will not? For it's still in your hands, and it's still up to you as to what direction you wish to take yourselves. It's still your world in that context. It's still your playground. So, think about what you would prefer the presence, our presence, to mean to you. Our physical presence on your planet to mean to what happens to your society. Think deeply about it. Take your time. Even though 5 years is not very far away, there is time. Think about it now. Knowing this is going to occur. What will change in your life? How will you change your lives knowing this is about to happen? What directions will you decide to go in that you may not have decided to go in before, knowing that this is going to happen in 5 years? You can take your time, but again, no, it's not so very far away. 5 years when you are acting on your passion can pass in a blink, and before you know it, we will be standing by your side, standing in front of you, asking, who have you decided to be? Who are you with yourself, and who are you with us? Each and every single one of you has a team behind you. You have spirit guides, you have angelic beings, you have soul families. Each of you have hundreds and some thousands of beings that are all at your back, that have your back, that are giving you guidance, that are urging you and encouraging you to move forward to be yourselves. This is not an accident. The reason that you are exploring consciousness as you are is because it is the end of one cycle and the beginning of the next, and the time that you have been waiting for so long is finally here. All of a sudden in front of you. Unfolding in the next 5 years. So get ready. Don't be caught unawares. Don't be caught by surprise. Oh, I didn't know you were going to show up so soon. I'm not quite ready for this yet. What does this mean for my life? What's going to change? What's not going to change? What do I do? Get ready now. For 5 years is not so far away. And I said, actually, within the next 5 years. So, allow yourselves to look at your lives. Allow yourselves to look at your souls. Allow yourselves to be who you truly are. Because that is who we will interact with, who you truly are. So the idea to understand is, while contact is still going to occur, is still inevitable within the next 5 of your years, we gave you that window of 5 years because there was movability, flexibility within that window. Due to reactions and responses that we received and picked up and observed in the collective energy of your society with respect to the comments that were made in our transmission, we have determined that there is now a high degree of probability that what we first suggested would occur at the end of your 2026 and the beginning of your 2027 may now occur somewhere more around your 2028 or 29. Because we now have to assess exactly, based on what we have picked up from all of you, exactly how and why contact will occur on your planet. It will still happen, but the reasons for it, the style of it, may change somewhat due to our observation and assessment of information that people on your planet are capable or not capable of handling. You have entered the age of what you term the oligarchs. The people that you choose to put into positions within your governments that you elect are not the people that are, in your terms, running things. It almost does not matter who you have elected, for there are many things going on behind the scenes that will come out in certain ways at certain times that will allow you to recognize how your world is really run and allow you the opportunity to work together, to talk to each other, to finally communicate instead of divide, instead of being divisive, instead of sticking to your own opinions, instead of basing them on fears, to finally break down the barriers and allow yourself not to be on one side or the other of the glass wall that creates the splitting prism, but to be the glass wall, to allow communication to flow in both directions, to get at the crux of the issues deep down and to not be afraid to talk to each other, to discuss with each other, to learn from each other, to hear each other, to commune with each other.
Hello, Bashar.
And you, good day.
I'm very excited to be here.
As are we to interact with you.
And before we begin, I would first like to extend my deepest appreciation for allowing us to interact with ourselves
Absolutely.
through you as a permission slip.
It is our passion and our pleasure.
Throughout my physical life here, I had the exciting opportunity to experience deep and severe levels of negativity, suffering, depression, and pretty much everything in that category.
How exciting.
Indeed.
How brave and bold of you.
Thank you. I guess.
I know. Because you can use this now to your advantage. Remember, unless you haven't heard it before, what we call the rubber band analogy?
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Therefore, You understand the farther you pull the band back into darkness, when you finally let go, it'll give you that much more momentum to fly that much faster into the light. So you were bold and strong enough to pull that band very far back. That means you have a lot of potential energy built up to go flying into the light. So that was bold of you.
I'm glad you mentioned that because it seems I'm still stretching backwards.
Do you want to let go?
Yes, and that's why I'm here.
And what it is in your belief system that stops you from letting go. What are you afraid will happen if you do let go and fly into the light and be the self you prefer to be? Yes?
I don't think I'm afraid. I just think I'm not able to identify a specific belief system that I have.
All right, well, one moment. We use the term afraid, but this is what we mean by it. Do you remember us talking about the motivational mechanism and how that works? Would you like a recap?
Yes, please.
You all have a motivational mechanism. It works like this. It works all the time, immediately, without fail. There are no exceptions to this. You always choose in the direction of what you believe benefits you. Always, without fail. What you believe benefits you more than the alternative. You always move away from what you believe does not benefit you. So, what that tells you, if you understand that mechanism and how it works, is that if you are not letting go and moving in the direction you would prefer to, that can only mean you have a belief attached to staying where you are that makes staying where you are appear more beneficial than where it is you prefer to go. You need to find out what that belief is. And that usually translates as if you do let go, you're afraid that something will happen that you don't prefer to have happen. That's what we mean by being afraid. You are projecting, or the negative belief is convincing you that if you do let go and become who you prefer to be, that something worse and less beneficial will happen than simply remaining where you are. Does that make sense as a mechanism to you?
It does make sense, yes.
So you need to figure out what the belief could possibly be that would make staying where you are more beneficial or seem to be more beneficial than where it is you prefer to be. Do you have any clue as to what that might be?
Well, I have sharing, if I may,
Yes.
with an experience like that.
Yes.
So I went back and I analyzed most of my negative experiences that I had, and I realized that most of the times, if not always, they were self-inflicted.
All right, and because...
And then I went and I asked, why is that? And then I found the reason.
And that was?
The main reason for me is that I find myself attracted and passionate about the idea of falling in love with the wrong person 99% of the time.
Because?
Well, I don't know. That's where it
Because you
stops.
don't deserve anything better?
Yeah, I think so.
So this is an issue of self-worth.
Well, if you ask me now, I feel like I deserve, but then I think it's something more deep inside that.
I know
overrides
that you empirically know you do, but if you believe that you are not worthy of it, that is going to take precedence. That's exactly what I just described as the motivational mechanism. If the belief that you're unworthy is stronger than the belief that you deserve it, you will deprive yourself of what you deserve because that belief is stronger.
How do I shift the belief?
Well, find out why that belief would be stronger. Why does it seem safer, I'll use that term, to deny yourself what you deserve? Are you concerned that if you allow yourself to attract what you deserve, that something will go wrong with that? Or it won't be what you thought it would be?
Maybe.
Maybe. All right. Well, you have to be honest within yourself about these things. So, if you did allow yourself to attract what you deserve, what you know you do deserve, just by your existence, what do you imagine might go wrong?
I think it would be maybe too much of positive
Too
energy.
much positive energy.
Yeah, probably.
What would too much positive energy do to you?
I'm
pray
not
tell?
sure. I haven't experienced it yet.
Yet you have an idea that it is something to avoid. So whether you have experienced it or not, you obviously have a belief about it that isn't benefiting you and prevents you from moving toward it. So what do you imagine too much positive energy might do? Blow the top of your head off or something?
Something like that, yeah.
So you're saying you can't handle that much positive energy?
I'm sure I can,
Are you?
at least empirically, as you said.
Well, but do you know it in your bones as true? Or is it just an intellectual concept for you?
It's just a concept.
Why isn't it in your bones? Why don't you know it to be true that you can handle it? I'll give you a hint, unless you can figure it out.
Please, go ahead.
All right. You have to look to your definitions of what it means to have positive energy, because you are creating a definition wherein having positive energy could possibly have something go against the positive energy, and that's not a definition of positive energy. You have a different definition. So you have to clarify and clean up your definition of what it is that's capable of happening when you create a positive state of being. Many people on your planet say exactly what you're saying. I would create a positive state of being, but I'm afraid that if I do, something negative will happen. That's not a definition of a positive state of being. Nothing negative can happen in a positive state of being. Even if it looks like it's negative, even if somebody else defines it as negative, you will know that by staying in a positive state of being, you can only extract a beneficial and positive effect from it, no matter how it was created, no matter how it looks, no matter what anyone tells you about it. You know that by staying in a positive state of being, you cannot be affected negatively. That's what you have to know is the definition of being in a positive state. Any other definition is not a definition of a positive state. So you have to be clear about how you're defining the concept of what's possible in a positive state. Yes?
Yes, and this is where intuition comes into place, and most of the times, actually, it never failed me.
Intuition can, but this is really just about knowledge. It's about knowing how things work. It's about understanding this literally almost from a physics point of view. You cannot experience what you're not the vibration of. It's simply not possible to experience something that you are not operating on the same wavelength as.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because there were cases when I felt extremely excited and positive and
Yes.
and everything was wonderful, and then the outcome was completely different.
That's because you are equating the idea of that outcome to being in the positive state, and that's not the case. I understand that physical reality and continuity can make it seem as if that was the outcome of the positive, excited state, but it wasn't. If you have an outcome that is actually truly negative, now I'm talking about something different than what you expect, because just because something unexpected happens doesn't mean it's negative. If you're labeling it as negative because you didn't get what you expected, that's the definition you need to change. But the idea is that if you do experience something negative after having been in a positive state, that negativity is not the result of the positive state. That negativity is the result of you leaving the positive state. And that means you applied a negative definition to what happened instead of a positive one. You can recognize that something that manifests may not be what you expected, may not even be what you prefer. But that's a neutral observation and does not insist that you have to define it in a negative way. You have to know that whatever happens in your life, whatever pops up, no matter how it looks, must be there for a positive reason. And if you stay in that frame of mind, you will be able to use even what you don't prefer in a way that you do prefer. That's how you use the negative positively. And then when you use it in a positive way, it will usually go away because you've used it up. There's no reason for it to hang around because you were willing to validate it as having a reason to be there that serves you, instead of assuming that just because something unexpected happened, something went wrong. That definition is what causes you to experience that something went wrong. The thing in and of itself doesn't have built-in negative meaning. Nothing has built-in meaning. You give it the meaning. Now, you may give it that meaning unconsciously, and then see the negative result from the negative belief you applied to it so quickly you didn't even know you were doing it. But that's why it's so important to become aware of your definitions so that they don't catch you off guard by making it seem as if, well, that just happened out there. That's just because that's built into that situation. No, it never is. It's always coming from you. And therefore, you have a feedback mechanism that lets you know how to course correct and realign yourself and say, wait a minute. I don't have to automatically assume that just because I got something I didn't expect that that's a negative thing. Let me see how I can define this in a positive way that serves me. Catch yourself, stop yourself, find the definition that gave it the negative experience, that attached the negative experience to it, and let go of that definition and replace it with a more positive one so you can get a beneficial effect out of whatever happens. Because as we have said, and we'll say again now, it doesn't matter what happens. It only matters what you do with what happens. That's what makes the difference. Is this helping?
It is, and I have tried just that, but it feels like...
No, you haven't. Because if you say, I've tried it, you're saying that you still had an assumption and an insistence and an expectation of what the result was supposed to be. You don't know what the result needs to be until it shows up. And that's what shows you what it needed to be. So you have to let go of any insistence on what you think it's supposed to be. Do you understand?
Yes, it feels like the body sometimes just takes over the mind.
That is an excuse. And it comes from a negative belief because that's not true. You're buying into something as if it's a fact. Just because you feel it doesn't mean it's a fact. The fact that you feel like the body sometimes takes over is one of the tools the negative belief uses to convince you you don't have the power to change. You have to see through the lie, the smoke and mirrors of the tools the negative belief uses. It's not doing it maliciously, that's just how it's built. But you have to know that that's not true. In other words, when you hear yourself saying, or hear yourself even thinking, sometimes the body just takes over and I can't do anything about it, that's exactly, perfectly, and precisely the moment to stop yourself and go, wait a minute, that's not a fact. It's an opinion, it's a belief, it's a perspective, and I don't have to buy that as true. But negative beliefs will make themselves appear to be facts, appear to be true. You have to catch them in the moment and say, tricky little belief. I heard that coming out of my mouth, I heard that going through my head, and I almost fell for that, but I caught myself. So thank you for allowing me the practice to have more discernment over what really is and isn't a fact. Is this helping?
A lot.
All right.
Another layer of this
Yes.
experience is the fact that I've
Is
not...
the fact that?
Well, it's the
Is the belief that?
belief. Well,
It's a fact that you can have a belief, if that's what you're saying.
okay. It's a belief that during my experience here, there seems to be a particular female template that helps me experience this negative cycle that we just talked about. And
All right. But if it helps you experience that, it must be doing it for a positive reason, yes?
But why that specific physical template?
You must need that template to teach you something about yourself.
I learned that I'm tired of this.
Maybe that's the lesson.
I was tired a long time ago.
Obviously not tired enough.
Yeah, I'm...
When you are really sick and tired of being sick and tired, you will stop choosing to be sick and tired. Obviously, if it keeps happening, you're not tired enough. So keep doing it until you're really tired enough of it. Then you'll let it go. You'll realize that you don't need to keep doing it. Because you can only be doing it because you believe it serves you. Remember motivational mechanism?
Yes.
You can only experience what you believe serves you. So you must not be tired enough of it yet to let it go. And that's okay.
So there's no other reason that there will be that specific repetitive physical template. It's just an excuse, a permission slip for me to feel miserable.
Yep.
And it's working great. Is there a way I can slow down my aging process? There was somebody who...
By living in the moment. And you know how you live in the moment? You follow your passion to the best you can with no insistence or assumption as to what the outcome is supposed to be. That's how you accelerate your vibration, and by contrast, accelerating your vibration allows you to slow down and live in the moment. And that's how you become ageless.
Slowing down the molecular level of the aging process through meditation.
Living in the moment. Because you know how when you're acting on your passion, it seems like time passes in a flash?
Yes.
You've had that experience?
Yes.
So if you are doing something you love to do and you're in that state of being and it appears like or feels like maybe 15 minutes has passed, then you look up and reconnect with the world and oh, it's been 2 hours or 3 hours. What you feel was the time that passed, the 15 minutes, is all you've actually aged. Even though you might reconnect with the world 3 hours later and catch up to the consensus reality of time, if you only experienced 15 minutes in that experience of joy, you have actually only aged 15 minutes. That's how you become ageless. You collapse time. You live in the moment. You don't experience as much time because you're not focusing on so many details that you need more time to focus on them. You're acting holistically. You're living more in the now, which is timeless.
But there's so many passionate people who age just like everybody else.
And that's okay. Just look at how they age, though. I'm not saying you won't mature. Even we mature, but we are not infirm. We are not diseased. We are still energetic. And many of you are too, no matter how old you are. You're getting more and more examples on your planet of people that are over 100 who can probably outdo you. So the idea is to understand that that's possible, understand it's becoming even more probable, and allow yourself not to focus on that needing to be the outcome, but just focus on living in the moment and let yourself age and mature naturally for you. Because there is still a reason for that to happen in your society to a certain degree. Now, that will become less and less and less necessary over time. And for some individuals, it may not be necessary at all at any age, in any time frame, in any era. But the idea is that if it does happen while you're living in the moment, then there's a reason for it to happen that serves you. So stop having the insistence that something shouldn't be happening. Just use what's happening in the most positive way you can. That's the point of this conversation. Yes?
Yes.
Does that help you?
A lot.
All right.
And one last thing.
Yes?
I feel like I'm absolutely ready to meet you in physical form.
You are not.
What happens if we do?
You will blow up.
And what happens if I'm okay with that?
Well, then, what purpose does that serve?
Well,
What
I guess we'll
purpose
find out.
does that serve? Tell me what purpose it serves.
What if we try in a lucid dream? Would that be...
In a lucid dream is fine.
So can we meet?
Because that's a different dimensional vibration. And there is, shall we say, less probability that our higher vibration won't overwhelm your vibration and force to the surface the things that you may not be ready to integrate within your psyche yet. This conversation between us has happened because you're still working on yourself. Yes?
Yes.
You're still holding on to certain vibrations that are wholly incompatible with the vibrational frequency on which we operate. We operate 10 times faster than you. It would burn you out. Therefore, the idea of incorporating this information is what allows you to accelerate yourself and become more vibrationally compatible. But the idea of being in another dimension, in what you call the lucid dream, that acts as a buffer. It's another reality that allows us to be more vibrationally compatible without negative effect to you in terms of your physical journey. And obviously, you are still on your physical journey and still exploring the idea of belief systems within you that don't serve you. And therefore, it would not really serve you for us to interact in your physical reality at this time. Please understand, we've done this before. We know what we're talking about, and we will do nothing that in any way, shape, or form, from our perspective, in our experience, would bring any degree of harm to you. So we cannot do that yet. But there will be potentially a time in which that could happen. The more you live in the moment, the more you accelerate your vibration, the more you become vibrationally compatible with us. And so in time, in perfect timing, then something like that could happen. You need to increase the probability by being more of yourself first. That's the process. That's contact. But you're having contact right now anyway. So the idea of physical contact with us can't be made to seem better than the kind of contact we're having right now. This is how it works. And you have to simply trust that we know what we're doing. All right?
I trust you. Thank you.
Our unconditional love to you. Pleasant dreams.
Now that you have changed your collective consciousness, the vibration and frequency of your reality in such a manner as you have recently done, you have created a kind of shift, a kind of change that allows us now to proceed further with this agenda of assisting you in the balancing of this energy, and allows us to move into different positions, because now you have created on your planet a very different energy which can now accelerate in positive and constructive and creative and loving ways more than ever before. So first and foremost, we will congratulate you on making a change in your collective consciousness to allow us to interact with you in a new reality. So congratulations. Now, once again, allow us to explain briefly the idea of what the shift is about in terms of what is actually mechanically happening. We understand that in human language you have many colloquial phrases for this idea of transformation and changing your world. And that is all well and good, and you can refer to this idea in any way, shape, or form you so desire. It doesn't matter. The effect is the same. But the idea is that we would like to take a moment to explain to you mechanically, physiologically, what is happening. Because sometimes when you understand the actual mechanism that you are employing in the change, it helps you make further changes, more profound changes, and have a more profound understanding of what kind of changes can be made. So, I know this is going to sound at first a little bit confusing, but that's all right. This is just an issue of semantics and language, and we will explain more clearly as we go along. So when we talk about the kind of changes that you are making and wish to make on your planet, we will begin this conversation by pointing out that nothing has changed. Why do we say that? I will tell you. Thank you. Here's what we mean by nothing has changed. The idea is really that when something in your world changes, the world you were in did not change. You changed. You shifted your frequency. You shifted your vibration. And by shifting your frequency, you have shifted your focus of consciousness to an already simultaneously coexisting parallel reality that is already existing on that frequency. You didn't change the world that was there. That world is still there. You have shifted to an already existing parallel reality that is reflective of the vibratory frequency you have shifted to personally. Thus, when you look around and see differences, it's because you have taken yourself, you have shifted yourself to a parallel earth that already had those differences in it. The old earth, the other parallel reality, still exists, still looks the same. Didn't change. But you have changed your focus of consciousness. So the idea of helping people change, of helping to change your world, is the idea really of offering other people a point of view that contains a certain frequency, a certain pitch, a certain state of being. And if they choose to match, to mirror that frequency you are offering that goes along with that different point of view, they then will see the difference in the world in which they have shifted to. They will see the difference in them reflected by the world they have shifted to. But again, the other world, still there, hasn't gone anywhere. All possible parallel realities exist now, coexist simultaneously. There is only one eternal now. Everything exists in it. We understand that from your linear space-time perspective, this may not seem to be so, but many of you are now beginning to realize this is really just an illusion. The idea really is to understand that what you call different changes, different moments, different places, different times, different experiences, even different lives, all these things coexist at the same time, so to speak. They are really just different perspectives of the same eternal now moment. So what you call the past exists right now. What you call the future exists right now. There really is no future in the future, no past in the past. Those are simply different frequencies, different experiences, all going on at the same time as what you call the present. The idea is that they're simply different viewpoints of the present. And from your linear space-time experience, the perspective you have created with the experience of linear space-time, you can create this idea that something comes before, then something comes next, then something comes after. But it doesn't really do that. An analogy we often use to illustrate this point is what you call one of your film strips on Earth. You know that when you go to watch your movie, it is made of a film strip that has many frames. Well, when you are watching the movie, from the perspective of being an audience member, you can say, well, first we see this frame, then that frame, then the next frame, then the next, and we get this illusion of continuity, this illusion of motion, this illusion of the passage of time, and things start here and things end there. However, if you are in the projection booth above the audience, you can take the film canister, you can take out the film, you can stretch out the strip of film in front of you, and you can see all the frames at the same time. You could even look at this frame first, then that frame, then that frame, then that frame, then that frame, in any order you wish. Linear space-time has been, in that sense, nullified. The idea is that all the frames exist at the same time, but from the perspective of the audience member, they only exist in sequence, to tell a story, to have an experience. But that doesn't tell you what's actually mechanically happening. It doesn't describe the existence of the film strip itself and the perspective of the projectionist who can see all the frames at the same time. This is analogous to the idea of your physical consciousness in physical reality experiencing linear physical space-time, and the idea of your higher mind, your oversoul, experiencing all your moments, all your lives at once. And the idea thus then is the reason you can connect to other lives, other experiences, is because they all exist at the same time. So you can simply cross-connect, shift your vibration. Again, another analogy, as we have often said, your television analogy. At any given moment, you can watch whatever program on your TV set you want. This does not mean there are not other programs available, but you only get the program you are tuned to at any given moment. But when you change the channel, when you shift your frequency, you get another program. Doesn't mean the program you were watching is no longer there. They all exist at the same time, but you only perceive whatever is the vibration you are tuned to within yourself. And when you change that frequency, you get different input. You get a different experience. It's as simple as that. This really is simple physics. It's really no more complicated an issue than that. And because it all exists at the same time as all the programs at any given moment do on your television set, that's why you can switch back and forth. That's why you can know things from other lives. You may think it is a memory, And in a sense, again, colloquially, you could call it a memory of a past life, or even a memory, or if you wish, a precognition of a future life. But remember, memory is created in the present. It doesn't actually come from the past. When you have a memory, you're having it now. So you're creating it from the now. In fact, because everything actually exists now, not only do you create the experience or illusion of the future from now, you also create the illusion of the experience of the past from now. And that means that when you change your now, not only have you changed your so-called future, you've actually changed your history. Literally. Now, knowing this means you can work very powerful miracles. I will give you an example. When you see someone on your planet exhibiting a certain, shall we say, habit, the idea is that sometimes you will see that they struggle to overcome this over a long period of time, but sometimes you will notice that someone can simply arrive at a moment in their lives where they recognize that's simply not something they wish to do anymore. And no matter how addictive that habit may seem, many of you have actually witnessed people or heard of people on your planet saying, no more, that's it, what you call on your planet cold turkey. And the idea is that they do not seem to struggle with it from that point forward. It's as if they never had the habit. I'm telling you that when they change their reality that strongly, the truth is, the reason they don't exhibit any urge any longer is because they never have had the habit. Because when you become a new person, literally, you become a new person when you change your frequency every moment. And when you become a new person that has a definition that you do not now have that addiction, do not now have that habit, you actually alter all the other connections. You shift yourself to a reality where you never did. And thus that's why it is not a struggle, not an effort. No longer must you fight to overcome the habit. It simply never existed, so you're having no experience of it now. You can use your reality this way. All it takes is recalibrating your focus to understand that this is how reality is structured. And when you begin to understand this structure, the nature of physical existence in this context, you can evoke and create and manifest very powerful change. Now, I will tell you a secret about yourselves. You are all of you already, without exception, yes, without exception,
Yes.
Not even you, already as powerful a manifester as you will ever be. You will never be a more powerful manifester than you are now. What you will refine is your understanding of what you are manifesting. You will never manifest more powerfully than you do, because you already manifest instantaneously. If you didn't, you wouldn't be having an experiential reality of any kind. To have an experiential reality, you must be manifesting it. You must be attracting it. You must be creating it. So look around. You're having a reality. Yes? Yes. So you are manifesting. The secret is, why are you manifesting what you're manifesting? Not how do I manifest better. You can't manifest any better. You're perfect manifestors. You are made in the image of the ultimate manifester, creation itself. You are perfect manifestors. So please, 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 we would suggest, strongly suggest, we're not telling you what to do. You don't have to listen to us. You don't have to believe us. But we would strongly suggest you don't spend time wondering how to become a better manifester. You're already a perfect manifester. What you need to do to see that you are a perfect manifester is focus on how you are manifesting, or why you are manifesting what it is you are manifesting. And as you change the definition of what you're manifesting, you will see more clearly and more obviously every moment of every day that you are a perfect instantaneous manifester. And now you have gotten a handle on the mechanism underlying the reasons why you are experiencing what you are experiencing. And all of this comes down to belief, definition. Again, This is physics. Your personality, your physical mind, is basically an artificial construct composed of beliefs, emotions, and thought pattern actions. When you have beliefs that are out of alignment with your true self, you cannot help but have emotions that are also out of alignment with your true self. And you cannot help but have thoughts and actions that are out of alignment with your true self. But when you have beliefs that are in alignment with your true self, likewise, emotion follows, thoughts follow, actions follow, and it all works in harmony. So the idea is not to work on becoming a better manifester, but becoming a clearer manifester in the sense of knowing what you're manifesting by knowing what you believe to be true. Because it all stems from belief. Your entire physical reality experience stems first and foremost from what you believe to be true. You cannot even have an emotional response if you don't have a belief first. So when you have an emotion, when you have a thought, when you have an action that you don't prefer, always trace it back to what do I have to believe is true in order to feel the way I do. What do I have to believe is true in order to feel the way I do? That's the first question to always ask yourself when you find yourself in a physical reality experience that is out of alignment with what you prefer it to be. What would I have to believe is true in order to feel the way I do in this experience? If you are feeling something negative, if you are feeling fear, doubt, self-loathing, hatred, anger, shame, ask yourself, what would I have to believe is true about myself in my relationship to this situation for me to experience this emotion? Because I know that the emotion cannot be there if I don't believe something about myself to be true first. Because you notice that if you don't have a definition for something, you don't know how to feel about it. You don't have a feeling about something you have no definition for. When you do automatically, either consciously or unconsciously, apply a meaning and a definition to something, then the emotions kick in. But only then, and never before. So when you find yourself feeling something, allow yourself to feel it. Don't, in any way, shape, or form, suppress it. But examine and explore why it is there. And the first and foremost reason it is there is because you have a belief. Find out what that belief is. Now, all these things we are talking about here, we can discuss these more in a variety of ways and get clearer and clearer on how to use these mechanisms in a clear and conscious manner so that you can know that all change within yourself is, in fact, instant change. Instant change. And the only way it would seem as if change is not instantaneous is because you are making instantaneous changes that are simply not that different than the change you made before. You see the illusion that is created? If you make an instantaneous change, and in any change, everything does change within you. You shift to an entirely different reality. But if you shift yourself to an entirely different reality that looks almost identical to the last one, you won't really think that anything has changed. You will fool yourself into the illusion of thinking nothing has changed or not much has changed. And that this is a long process and an effort and a struggle. And it takes a long time. Without realizing you have actually changed everything all at once. But it simply looks pretty much the same. Because you have created it to be so with your belief that big change cannot happen quickly. That's the belief that allows you to experience the idea of change happening slowly. But if you understand that every change is a total change, a totally new reality that you've shifted to, then it's an issue of how different you define that reality, and the difference, the degree of difference in your definition of that new reality from the other one is what will allow you to see that the manifestation of the change is instantaneous. Because the only way you can gauge instantaneous change is by having a great degree of difference in the change. If you don't have a great degree of difference in it, you don't think much has changed, even though it has. So again, the idea of describing to you the notion that every change is instantaneous and every change is total, and I mean total, you are a new person in a new reality, in a new universe, literally, take me literally, please take me literally. I am not speaking metaphorically here. then if you know that that is absolutely, totally different, then you can also begin to understand that it actually can be anything you really prefer it to be. At whatever rate you are comfortable with, and that's usually the big secret, at whatever rate you are comfortable with. Because for many of you, the idea of change is very scary. And you don't really want to change that much, even though you're changing instantaneously, totally. You want to create an experience that says you haven't really changed that. Oh, I don't want to be too different. People will think I'm strange, bizarre, weird, freaky, and all those other wonderful, colorful Earth terminologies. Nevertheless, the truth is you change everything instantaneously. It is up to you to decide how much you want to take advantage of that fact. It's up to you. The rate, the pace, the style is up to you. All we are doing is letting you know that's the mechanism that's happening, so you don't have to spend time wondering how to make amazing, large-scale, rapid, instantaneous manifestations. That you're already doing. All you need to do is focus on why you're doing what you're doing, how you're doing it, based on what belief and why, and then you'll get a handle on how to allow yourself to redefine the reality in such a manner as to see whatever degree of change you prefer to see. And that's what it's all about. What idea, what belief is most harmoniously aligned with your true self? Now, we have said, yes, true self, out of alignment, in alignment with true self, true self. What's true self? Here's how you tell what your true self is. Once again, briefly. It is encapsulated in a term that exists on your planet called passion, joy, and excitement. The idea is that vibration, what you feel, that excitement, that physical sensation, is actually the body's translation of the vibratory energy that is your true core inner being. So anytime something in your life contains that degree of excitement, we would again strongly suggest you act on it. Why? Because that's who you are. Because it is most truly you. It is your path. It is your reflection. It is your attractor. It is luring you to more of yourself. That's why things contain that feeling. That's why they reflect that feeling to you. And that's why you can know that if you act on your joy, it will support you because it's your true self. I know. You have many different belief systems on your planet that doubt the ability of your excitement to support you, and we can talk about some of those at length if you wish. Nevertheless, it does have the ability to support you. Why? Because it is you. And it is the part of you that is representative of the part of you that is made in the image of creation. And creation is nothing if not unconditionally supported.
I want to say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? Once again, we take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for allowing our civilization to communicate to your civilization through this window and in this way and at this time. Once again, each and every time you allow such an interaction to take place, it expands our understanding of that many more ways that the infinite has of expressing itself. So we thank you for this gift of sharing. We would like to begin this transmission with the following notions. First of all, we would like to take advantage, to some degree, of the synchronicity of the image that is depicted upon the channel shirt. That which you have in your now mythology called in your reality the Men in Black. The idea is really threefold, at least those portions we will discuss this day of your time. There is more to it than this, but we will cover three ideas regarding what you call euphemistically the Men in Black. Number one, many of you have understood that there is some connection to what you call the extraterrestrial or UFO phenomenology regarding these mysterious individuals. And this is true. In one sense, in order to maintain certain ideas of secrecy within the extraterrestrial agendas that deem that secrecy is important, they concocted what would be called a screen presentation. This is, in other words, an archetypal projection, a representation of themselves in very fundamental and basic appearance, what you call black suit, black car, the things you understand in your reality to be nondescript, for the specific purpose in that getting your consciousness to focus on a nondescript representation of an individual in a black suit, in a black car, mysterious, will actually help to activate certain centers in your brain, certain centers of your consciousness experience of reality, to allow you to see what they want you to see, to allow you to know what they want you to know, and to forget what they want you to forget. It is, in a sense, a type of hypnotic tool in the same way that your society uses such things as pendulums or shiny objects to get you to focus, or movement of hands to get you to focus on a particular point of view so that you can be more suggestible. The presentation by certain extraterrestrials of the figure is archetypal. The men in black is a tool for getting you to focus in a certain area of your consciousness, in a certain area of your brain where it is more easy to allow you to forget certain things they don't want you to know. Now, it's not working so much anymore, because the more information that has leaked into your society regarding such things as extraterrestrial contact has made some of the concepts of men in black obsolete as a tool for erasing memory. However, this brings us to the second idea, and that is that in knowing that this was going on and being done by certain extraterrestrials from time to time to create the idea of secrecy, certain factions of your own government picked up on this and thought it was, as you would say, a nifty idea. A few, therefore, not many, but a few such cases of reports of what you call men in black are then simply nothing more than the idea of your own government agencies attempting to try it out as a part of what you would call their own mind control programs to see if they could utilize this to their benefit. It was not completely successful, primarily for the reason we have already given, in that by the time they initiated it, most of the effect of that presentation by the part of extraterrestrials had worn off on your society and really no longer had an impact on most of you to whom they presented themselves. The third idea, which has also manifested in physical reality from time to time, is literally purely the archetypal level, not involving physical extraterrestrials, not involving any physiological beings from your own governments, but literally that your collective consciousness from time to time, in that it has become incorporated in the collective mythology, has literally created a physicalized manifestation, or what would appear to be a physicalized manifestation of such entities, when and where there is doubt and fear about the things that are connected to extraterrestrial information or secrets in general. Your collective consciousness can be called forth by an individual in a sufficient amount of fear, and they can actually perceive such individuals as men in black appearing before them to reflect and exemplify the fear they feel within themselves about the secret that they may all of a sudden have become privy to. So, A, you have the literal extraterrestrial presentation that was utilized as a suggestion tool. B, you have your own human representation of this idea. But you also have, C, the archetypal collective consciousness representation of what you have come to know now in your mythology as the men in black. We would now also like to comment on something that is an extension of what we have commented on also recently, and that is that in a recent transmission, in a recent conversation, we suggested that in this now upcoming shift time, your present month of what you call March and beyond, there would be, in this time, many, many things that would begin to shift very rapidly, especially with regard to sociological ideas, economic, religious, so forth, ideas. And now we would like to underline and underscore this idea we spoke about by pointing out, as many of you have already probably guessed, that the recent announcement on your planet of your ability to now clone individuals is one such shift, or a part of one such sociological change in your society. For now you have a great degree of discussion and investigation. Now that you know it is possible for you to do something which for some time in your minds has been the product of science fiction, but now no longer is, it is one of the things that will very rapidly change your world and your outlook on reality and bring up lots of discussion on many different things that perhaps even only 1 month ago were not really strong considerations for reality. But now you know that you have arrived at a threshold of understanding and technology that allows you to discuss what you call the positive and negative, the pros and the cons of this issue, because now it is available to you, and even more so, you surprised yourself by finding out exactly how simple the technique actually is. Anyone in any kind of a laboratory now on your planet that is in any way, shape, or form equipped with even minimal technology can do this. Cloning exists in your reality now. Science fiction has become science. It is a new reality for you to consider, and there will, in the upcoming March month, and in the months especially accelerating toward your summer, be many more such new ideas beginning to break into the mainstream of your collective consciousness and will have to be being dealt with as reality instead of speculation. So, for what it's worth, congratulations on arriving at this point and giving yourselves even that much more to think about. Once again, we take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for allowing our civilization to communicate with you this way, through this window at this time. And we ask